everyone. I'm Priya.
Hi, and I'm Daniel, and you're watching Everyday Resonance, where we look at how we can align with our highest self in the world, just in the face of the ups and downs of what the world brings. And Priya, what do we focus on this program?
Everything in the human experience, from love to sex, relationships, work, spirituality, friendships, you name it. And I hope that we cover it.
Yeah, lots of great topics. And today we have a great guest. We're in the midst of focusing on love resonance, and right now the topic is conscious relationships, and actually we're just so grateful to have Brianna McWilliam with us today. We're about to go live with her to ask her some questions around what, Priya? What are we talking with Brianna about today?
Such a powerful topic today on different attachment styles, and if you don't know what they are, please stay tuned and maybe learn a little bit about yourself, perhaps partners, or even those that you have had relationships with in the past.
Which
Sure.
is, if one partner is interested in the self-reflection, and then also then the let's say
Joint
trauma
healing.
resolution related to the inner patterning stuckness, but the other is not, the other won't even really go inward. Is that an equation that you can work with?
So yes, and it's a big question. I think that there are sort of three underlying parts to it that I would break down, and the first would be you thus have to kind of define consciousness versus unconsciousness. You would need to address this notion that love is equated with need satisfaction, and lastly, you would have to kind of reframe the question in a more positive light.
Please tell me that love is equated with need satisfaction. I really need to hear that that's a big yes.
I'm gonna have to say
I don't see her signing off on that. Really don't see her signing off on that.
Yeah.
But I won't say
it's
it
something I've
can't
been learning that it's not. Okay, and yeah, go ahead.
I won't say that it can't be,
Right.
but it need not be. And I think sometimes we feel like we get tied up in the need satisfaction. And if you can't meet my needs, then I can't love you. And it's almost that it's not even the lack of the needs being met that disrupts us and upsets us so much. It's that, I can't love you anymore. And I will incur the judgment of my family and friends and everyone that I've complained to over the past 6 months about you if I do continue to love you, and they will tell me I am in a toxic relationship if I love you. So it's kind of like, if we're defining consciousness as an ability to assume that observer position in the internal as much as external world, then we are essentially defining consciousness as a measure of free will. And so that is, we are choosing
Choice,
how
yes.
to respond in any given situation. So I want to clarify that this is not to say that you learn how to control your feelings, or that you learn how to not have needs, or that you learn that you can meet your needs in every situation and thus you have no attachment needs whatsoever. You don't need to be in relationship to anybody else. It's really more about learning how to be in relationship to your needs such that you allow for them without being pushed around by them. So if your feelings are like water, and it's not going to behoove you in a storm to wall up the dam, but rather to open up a channel enough so that the lands around you don't get flooded. And so, it's futile to try to control the storm, but it's a benefit to build a strong channel.
That's absolutely right. Like I know for myself, I feel like I'm learning emotions for the first time in these past 3 years of not holding them in or numbing them out. And now what I'm starting to realize is to allow for the feelings to be there, and then make choices from that space of recognizing them and awareness with them. Even in the context of like a partner, how do I bring myself when things I would have normally not communicated, or things that I would have kept quiet about. How am I meeting my needs, which I know now is to actually communicate them, right, while honoring emotions. And it's hard work. It's hard work.
It gets easier.
Yeah, over time, over time. And the work is joyful. I don't want to make it seem that it's not, because what you said was, it's free will, and nothing is more beautiful than feeling free in your mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
And
So, and Brianna, it sounds like when you talked about the dam and being able to kind of let the water out in some sort of managed way, I really like that as it relates to this question of like, what is secure attachment? Like, what is healthy attachment? So maybe we could start there. Let's start walking down the path a little further. We can start with the healthy side of the equation, or the secure side of the equation.
Sure,
Could you
sure.
describe that more? Let's go into that a little further.
Yes. So I can talk about it in a million different ways, but I
Sure.
think what I'll start with is the present moment. We can talk about what it looks like in childhood and how that evolves into adulthood, which in a nutshell is basically to say that you received regard and you had parents who were attuned to your needs and you were able to explore the boundaries of your comfort zones with enough support that you felt like you were able over time to build enough internalized symbols and cognitive constructs that as an adult, you start to understand what is and is not an appropriate emotional investment in something. But if that got tied up in conditions of worth, which is to say that you were only given love and regard when you did certain things to get them, this is where we start getting that need satisfaction gets equated with love kind of stuff. So to be in a conscious relationship, and let's, for the purposes of this discussion, say conscious relationship is a secure relationship, is to hold a loving position regardless of where your partner may be in their process. So I love you because I am love, and nothing you could say or do would detract from what value I find in you and what I find lovable about you, or what I find valuable or lovable about me. So if I were to say I cannot grow unless my partner grows, and continuing to love them is unhealthy and holding me back,
That's
then
not
you're actually
conscious.
still in an unconscious
Yeah.
position, as we are defining it, and you are equating love with need satisfaction. But this is the thing, like that's okay too, because that's where you are in your process, and
Yeah.
that's information that's worth investigating, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah. What a beautiful way of information worth investigating.